Rabotai, we have a very, very big yesod in this shiur tonight. It's going to be Lunishmat. Who is it? There's Chud? Yosef Shlomo Ben Tova. Bezrat Hashem. Rabotai, you have to understand, there's a very, very famous question in Parashat Pekudei. You know, you open up, you tell me, what would you speak about Parashat Pekudei? What is it all about? What is it about, Rav Moshe? What is it about? Pekudei, the whole Pekudei, what is it speaking about? Huh? What is it speaking about? Rabotai, this is, right? Huh? What is it? It's speaking about the Mishkan. It's all about the Mishkan. It's all about the materials of the Mishkan. It's about the building of the Mishkan. This is the parasha where it discusses that we actually, it happened that we organized the Mishkan. Moshe Rabbeinu put it all together. Right? This is the parasha Pekudei. What would you speak about this week? If you were here speaking, what would you speak about? So I'm going to tell you a pasuk. That this is what?
It's usually a double.
So you don't have to speak. But this is a parasha that if you look, when you learn it, and you go to doing the Shtayim, you'll see the following. Many times in this week's parasha, you'll see the following words. Ka'asher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. Ka'asher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. They did it like Hashem told Moshe. They did it like Hashem told Moshe. They did it like Hashem told Moshe. By the way, this is maybe 10 times, again and again and again and again and again. They finish, right? They finish the me'il of the Kohen Gadol. They finish the me'il. What does it say after finishing? Oh, they did it. How'd they create the coat for the Kohen Gadol? Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. Exactly like Hashem told Moshe to do it. That's how they did it. And then he say further, what they do? They did the tzitz. They did this. Everything they did, at the end of it, it says, Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. Now the question that we have to analyze is, why does it say it so many times? You could have said, they made the tzitz, they made the ephod, they made the headplate, they made the linen, they made the mishkan, they made everything, and at the end say, they did it like the way Hashem told Moshe to do it. That's how they did it. There's not one extra word in the whole pasuk. Do you know that there's not even one extra letter? You know when it says kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, even the vav, every single letter is meduyak. You learn everything from everything. So even the tag, the tag shel yud, the little bit of the. So how is it that it goes on and on? Maybe 10 times. What's going on? Say it once and that's it. They did everything like Hashem told Moshe to do it. That's how they did it. No, they did this, they did that. Anybody want to give a try to answer? A solid question. By the way, I'm going to read you the question. Hakusha yedu'a lama hayat tzorech lichtov al kol prat u prat, on every everything that they made in the Mishkan. It says the words at the end after they made it, Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. V'lama lo must speak to say it one time at the end of everything. They did everything Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe, like God commanded Moshe to do it. Yeah, Isaac, the question, solid question. No, you got the question or no? Yes. Okay.
We didn't do it on their own.
Oh, I'm going to give you the. I'd like to give you Yesod, a foundation in life, and this foundation is found. There is a mitzvah that we do on every time we finish learning. There's a halacha that says in Shulchan Aruch, it's on Daf Kafchet Amud Bet Masechet Berachot. The Gemara says when you finish learning for the day. You finish. Of course, we were always learning, but you for the night. You're done with the night. You're done, right? You're going to sleep. What do you do? You're ready, leaving the Beit Midrash. What do we say? Modeh ani lefanecha You placed us in where? In the Beit Midrash. You know, when I was in yeshiva, I was always thinking. I was like, "What do you mean you put me in the Beit Midrash? I put myself in the Beit Midrash." Then when you get a little bit through years, you understand that it's a zchut to be in the Beit Midrash. You know, every single time where you open up my Gemara, every single time, I can guarantee you there'll be disturbances. I call it even before I open up the Gemara. I say, what? Like, Rabbi, are you a Navi? How do you know? I'm opening it. I watch my phone. All of a sudden, it won't ring for who knows what. Then all of a sudden, the second you open up the Gemara, boom, you get a call. What happened? I remember Sunday. I was learning in my house. Sunday, and I said, I'm learning straight. What happens? The doorbell rings. I shut my phone off. Doorbell rings. You can't win. Somebody comes in. It's a wild thing. But you start realizing as you get older, you have to have a zchut to learn. Of course. No, don't take it for granted. You have a zchut. You have to have a zchut to do any mitzvah. I'll never forget. Many years ago, I made for a few boys. I made a malava malka in my house. I invited Rabbi Goldstein to my house, and I said, "You're gonna be with us. And I invited, let's say, 30 people. 20 showed up, and at the time I was like, "What do you mean? I invited 30? Oh, come! What happened?" So I'll never forget. Rabbi Goldstein said, "You need a zchut. For every mitzvah, you need a zchut to do the mitzvah." What did it say? Megal galin zechut al yedei zakai. You have to have a zchut. You have to have a zchut. And therefore, Rabotai, we say this modani, modim anam necha she'esam kemesh medash, that you put us in the medash. You could do your yesh tadlut. But at the end of the day, Hashem gave you the zchut to sit and go into Beit Midrash. Now, in that, it says, Anu amelim ve'en amelim. Anu amelim u'makablim schad. Ve'en amelim ve'en makablim schad. What does that mean? What does that mean, Henry? That we work and they work. We work and we get reward, and they work, they don't get reward. And it was always bothered. It's a very famous question, but it always bothered me. What do you mean? They work. They see parnasa. They see all these different things. They see guys driving an awesome has a watch, $300,000 watch. What are you telling me? They get schad. They are male and they get schad. How can you say they are male, they don't get schad? So to this, I'll tell you my own answer. This is my own answer. I didn't see it anywhere. And then I'll tell you what the pshat they bring down. So the answer says that anytime you look, of course they get schad. They're getting schad. They're getting all this. But comparison to the schad that you get for learning is considered no schad. You hear the cheshbon? Yeah, cheshbon or no? They're getting schad. They're getting schad. They have a crazy, his watch is $1 million watch. Wow, look, he's schad, right? So how can you say they don't get schad? We get schad. We learn. We get schad. They learn. They don't get schad. What do you mean? They do get schad. They get $1 million watch. What's going on? You know what the answer is? Comparison to our schad that we're gonna get, it's nothing. It's jokes. It's a joke. Imagine a person tells you, "Oh, by the way, imagine you have $100 billion." And the guy says, "Wow, look, I made $5 today." $5. What's $5? What's $5? You hear the cheshbon? You hear that answer? You hear it or no? So now I'll tell you what they bring down. What they bring down is that our schad is not just based upon if you got the pshat in it or not. They are. I'll give you an example. If you hire an electrician to fix your electric, and he's there 2 hours, and he did electric, trying this, that, nothing went. Nothing went, didn't go. You're gonna pay him? We're not paying. Maybe a service costs $75 for company, but you didn't finish the job. What do you want? You estimated $10,000 to fix it, but you didn't fix it. So you worked all day, doesn't get paid. Person is sitting there trying to understand the Gemara. He's pushing and pushing, trying his hardest. At the end of the day, sof goes sof, he couldn't get the Gemara. It didn't work. He couldn't get it. His brain, mafi mich, he doesn't have a head. Didn't go. But he worked. He tried. He did. Says you have to understand every step of the way of just trying to get the Gemara, trying to understand what you're learning, trying, that itself you have to understand in Shamayim is being recorded, and that itself is what Hashem wants from us. To try as much as we can, of course to understand if we can understand, as much as we can do, that's our obligation. Yeah, Lior, yeah. You have to hear this. And that's why over here when the Torah is saying, Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe, why is saying each prat to prat? Let's say, for example, they didn't finish the Mishkan. They did this, they did that. But they did at the moment, they finished and they completed what God wanted for that moment. And therefore they're getting schar, even at that second, Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. Every single step of the way, they did it. That means what? They finish one, they finish another, they finish another. Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. Because but they didn't finish the Mishkan yet. The Mishkan's not done yet. What are you saying? But even the steps to get there, schad, reward. They're doing the will of God, they're doing the will of God, they're doing the will of God. That's why, but it's not extra words. Because if you're doing the will of God, every single time it's written. And that's why it's brought down that every single thing that you do in this world is written down in a book in Shamayim. You have your own Megillah. I'll bring you, one of the things that is brought down is, there was a Rasha called Shimshi. It's brought down in the Tetzayin Amud Aleph in Masechet Megillah, top of the page. It speaks about Shimshi. Shimshi was a Rasha. What did he do? When Ahashverosh was bringing the Sefarim to bring back the Sefer, well, do I owe anything to anybody? What did they do? Shimshi was erasing the Zchut of Mordechai. He was erasing it. That's what it says. And it says the Malach came down to rewrite it. And it was Kotev. That's what it says. It's not Katuv. Right now it's being written. So the Gemara says, Kol sheken ve'kol sheken. The second it's written in Shamayim, it stays there. It stays there forever. You did something good, don't think it's not recorded. It's recorded. And this is what the Torah is teaching us tonight. It's teaching us, Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. It's being recorded. But you didn't finish the process. You're getting there. You're starting. You're putting a foot forward. I'm going to write it in the Torah, Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. I'm writing it down. That's what I'm writing in the Torah. Why? Because you should just know, every single time you're getting close to Hashem, you're trying, you're doing, even that is being written. Rabotai, let me tell you a story about the Gaon of Vilna's wife. She Rebbetzin of Gaon of Vilna. It was Yadua, it was known that she was collecting tzedakah for the poor. And her and her friend made a deal. Whoever passes away first comes to them in a dream and tells them what happened in Shamayim. What happened in Shamayim? What's the schar in Shamayim? And the Rebbetzin of the Gaon of Vilna's wife, her friend passed away, and she came to her in the dream and says, "Listen, I'm keeping my deal to you. We made a deal, and I'll keep it." She comes there and says, "I can't tell you in Shamayim what happens. What's reward? I can't tell you. But one thing I will tell you. One thing I'll tell you is that, you remember that day many years ago, we were walking and we saw a wealthy man, and I pointed and said, 'Oh, let's go.' I got excited. Oh, maybe we could get tzedakah for him to help out the poor people." That excitement was written down, and that excitement I'm getting rewarded for in Shamayim. Yeah. Why is that? But you didn't finish. You're not understanding. Any single tnu'ah means any movement that you do to get closer to Hashem is so great, and I'm going to prove it to you now. It's so great that it's the biggest thing. It's the biggest rash in the world. It's like, wow, look at this person. Even a hirhud. What's the famous Gemara? The famous Gemara says, Rav David, what's the famous Gemara? A person's mekadesh and isha. He's getting married to this lady and says, by the way, Hariya mekadesh li b'dvazu, what? Al-menat shani what? Sadiq Amud. And we know the guy is getting married to this lady, and he's saying to her, by the way, I'm marrying you, but just know, tonight that I am what? That I am a tzaddik. And everybody knows this guy's a Rasha. There's Shabbat. We know he was in the car, driving, opened up the lights. We saw him. It's not like we didn't see him putting on the game there. What happened? And now he goes ahead and he's coming around and he's saying, we know the guy's a Rasha. You know what the Gemara says? Mekudeshet. Why is she Mekudeshet? Shema Hiru B'tshuva. Maybe in his mind he says, you know what? Hashem, I love you so much, Hashem, I want to come back to you. I did all the shtuyot in the world. Shabbat, what I do. And then you come back and you say, Hashem, I want to come back. I am back. And then, nobody knows what you did. Shamayim knows what you did. And therefore, we don't know, but Shamayim knows. It's being recorded. It's up there. Kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe. It's there. And therefore, when he's Mekadesher, we say Mekudeshet. How? The guy in Asha Saturday, he was doing the biggest averot. Shabbat, the biggest averot. Just that minute. You have to realize every single little thing that we do in our life to get close to Hashem, it's not a small thing. It's the greatest thing in the world. You have to know that in your brain. You have to understand what's the greatest thing. Anything, any small thing that you're getting close to Hashem, it's the greatest thing in the world. Pekudei it says, let's say you have two types of foods. Okay, both healthy foods, let's say. Both healthy foods, right? Both healthy foods, right? You're getting this healthy, that healthy. One's more expensive than the other, but you know if you take that one, you're going to make a beracha with more kavanah. Pekudei it says, better to buy the better one, and even it's more expensive, triple the price. And it's not about tashkid on the money. Why? Because you're having more kavanah when you're saying the beracha. What do you mean? I'm spending triple to have more? Yes, because you don't realize that one little bit that you push forward, you do a little bit, you don't realize the schad, you don't realize the schad. You know, there's a question asked. The Gemara says, Naf Nun Zayin Amud Bet says that in Gittin, it says that Bnei Haman, the great grandkids of Haman, are teaching Torah. In Bnei Brak. That's what Gemara says. Now, people get mistaken, by the way. How many kids did Haman have? People think he had, what do you mean, Rabbi, they got hung?
250.
Right? Oh, so there's a big mahloket. You know how many people? So there's a 3-1 mahloket, and you can look it up. It's either, I'll tell you straight up, it says either 30, and Gemara says 10 died, 10 got hung, and 10 went around to collect charity. They were so poor, but 10 was alive. The other one says, 10 died, 10 hung, and 70 was going around. And the last one is 208 boys he had. And that's why it says, Verov Banav. 208, you can look it up. It's a Gemara, Masechet Megillah, Yeshua Tedvav. It's over there. Huh? No, that's Bnei Brak. But how many kids did Haman have is in Masechet Megillah, Daf Tedvav. It says exactly over there. No. Again, it's either 30, 70, either 30, 90, or give me the Gemara, please. Let's go. Let's just do this quick. Yeah. All right? I don't get distracted. Omen. Yeah. I'll read it to you. Okay? Let's read it so we don't have any confusion and we see it. Okay? Right in. So, Tet Vav Amud Bet Masechet Megillah. It says over here, Verov Banav, Kama Rov Banav, Amarav 30, Shloshim, Asara Metu Asara Intlu Asara Mechazin al Petachim. 10 died, 10 hung, and 10 are going around. Rabbanan Amani Otej Mazim al Petachim Shivim. No. It's 70 was going around, meaning 10 died, 10 got hung, and 70 was going around. Right? And the third shita says, Verami Bar Abba Amar Kulan Matayim Ushmona Havu. He had 208 kids, boys. Shnei Amar Verov Banav. Verov Gematria 208. Because if you look at the Megillah, Verov is spelled without the Vav. Verov, without the Vav. That equals 208. Al Kol Panim, they ask a question. What zechut did Haman have that his great grandkids are teaching Bnei Brak? So I saw a Sefer, Tiferet Shmuel. He says that at the time of Haman holding Mordechai on the horse, he had a ksat emunah, a little bit of emunah, like saying, wow, this is all Hashem. That's a hoot. His grand, how can he be? Because he had emunah. You hear what's going on over here? Your little bit of emunah, you know how much it goes in Shamayim? Do you know how much it has? When something, heaven forbid, doesn't go your way, and you say in your mind, and you speak it out, Kol man David everything Hashem does is good. Gamzul Tovah. You don't understand what it's penetrating in Shamayim. What'd you do? For heaven's sakes, what'd you do? You know what you did? You had so much emunah and bitachon, you're shaking the olam, you're shaking the worlds. If Haman had it, and his grandkids, according to this pshat, had his kids teaching in Bnei Brak because he had a hirut in his mind of emunah and Hashem, How much more so a Jew? How much more so a Jew? Do you realize what's going on? Just emunah. Tzat emunah. Tzat emunah. Just a little bit of emunah. I told you a famous story in Masechet Ta'anit with Nachum Ish Gamzu. What does it say by Nachum Ish Gamzu? Hey, pass me the Gemara of Masechet Ta'anit, please. What does it say in Masechet Ta'anit over there? It says, it's brought down that Nachum Ish Gamzu, right after what happens, Nachum Ish Gamzu famously over here, right? He says over here, let me read it to you, that the Jews gave him to Caesar, give him gold, go give him gold, go give him diamonds, go give him that. And he went, and it says, they sent Nachum Ish Gamzu, it was Rav Nachum, and when he went there, the Caesar opened it up, and in the hotel that night, what happened was they robbed all the gold and all the silver, and they put in dirt. They put in dirt instead of gold and silver. They put in dirt. And the Caesar opens it up. What does he see? All dirt. What does Nachum Ish Gamzu do? He says, Amar Gamzu letova. You know what happens right after he said that? It shook the Shamayim. They sent Eliyahu Hanavi down to help him out. Yeah. Right after that it says, Ata Eliyahu. Eliyahu Hanavi came down, and they bring down. What's the pshat? Because that emunah that a person has, you think it's a small thing. So what if I had emunah in Hashem? How much emunah do you have when, I'll never forget, right? Just coming here. You're parking your car. I saw a parking across the street. So what am I doing? I'm making a K-turn to go into the parking. As soon as I'm waiting for the car to pass, what happens? Another car swoops in, took the parking. What's your reaction to that? What's your reaction? You know what your reaction as a Jew has to be? This is the best thing that ever happened. How is it the best thing that could ever happen? That's the emunah you have to have. And therefore, Rabotai, you have to understand something. This is what it says over here when we're bringing down Ka'asher Tziva Hashem et Moshe. Please, let me finish this. Please. I want to bring this as a proof. Can I quote to you something? It says when the Mishkan was, let me finish with this. I'd like to finish with this. Huh? It says over here, and I'm going to ask you a hard question on this. It says over here that when the Mishkan was already made, was Moshe Rabbeinu able to go in? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
What does the pasuk say? V'lo yochal Moshe lavo. You knew that? Ramoshi, you hear this going on?
Built it 7 times.
They built it. Was Moshe Rabbeinu able to go to Mishkan? When the Hanei Kavod was there, he wasn't able to go. The Hanei Kavod is above the Mishkan. He's not able to go. Can I ask you a question? By Har Sinai, was he able to go? It was much more than the Mishkan. Was Moshe Rabbeinu able to go? Yes or no? So what's the difference? Why, when it came to the Mishkan, it says the Hanei Kavod was there. Once the Hanei Kavod was there, Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't go in. But when it came to Matan Torah, they were able. Moshe Rabbeinu was able. Huh? You hear the question, Rav David? You hear the question, please. You have to hear this question. I ask another question. After Matan Torah, was before Matan Torah, when Hashem was giving it, was anybody allowed to go on Har Sinai? Yes or no? No. Where were they allowed to go? Where were they allowed to go? B'mshoch hayovel hema yalu bahar. When Hashem left, what it says over there? When Hashem blew the shofar, then what? They were able to go. After Matan Torah, they won't go on Har Sinai. Hey. Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you. The Bet HaMikdash right now, where the Makom HaMikdash is, are you allowed to go? Tameh Met is allowed to go. Are you allowed to go Bar Habayit? Asur. The Chiyuv is what? What's the Onesh? Correct. What do you mean? If I were to tell you what's greater? Matan Torah? Shechina? Or what? Or Har Habayit, where the Bet HaMikdash was? What would you say? After Matan Torah, they were allowed to go up. The Har Sinai, after Bet HaMikdash got destroyed, that exact spot, you're not allowed to go. Why? $1 million question. $1 million question. This is not my question. Shmuel Birnbaum asked this question. The Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir Yeshiva. I have a very big connection with him. You know that? I'll tell you how. He passed away. He passed away about 17 years ago. And I want to tell you two things. One thing was, I was visiting Rav Dan Segal in Eretz Yisrael. Listen to this. I was visiting Rav Dan Segal in Eretz Yisrael, and they told me they need another 45 minutes for you to see him. Okay. I said 45 minutes. There was a guy with me. He says, for 45 minutes, come into my car. I'm going to take to the kever of Rabbi Yosef. I said, okay. I go to the kever of Rabbi Yosef, and as I'm going there, as you're walking in, it's Sanhedria, I believe. It's in Sanhedria. You walk up. Who is right there? The kever of Shmuel Birnbaum. And I said, because I was learning his Torah, Hashem, he had a connection. Hashem I met him right there. Besides the fact when he was alive, I spoke to him a few times, but at the end of the day, this question, this is what he says. You ready to hear what he says? You ready to hear what he says? This is what he says. He says, it's a whole different world. Why? Our rabbis teach us, Gedolei Maaseh Tzadikim Yoter Mimaaseh Shamayim Va'aretz. What does that mean? What happened? All those things happened. It happened. The nature happened. Of course Hashem brought it down, but that was the nature. The nature was that the whole world at the time of Matan Torah was kolot brakim. It was very big thunder, very big lightning. But what happened by the Mishkan? Who did the Mishkan? Bnei Yisrael. With their Yetzer Hara. Of course, they overcame everything and they built it. Hashem says, you, Bnei Yisrael, you did Ka'asher Tzivah Hashem and Moshe. You didn't change. You did exactly what I told you. How many times a person changes? This is the halakha. Let me do a little like this. Rabbi, any attempt to do it like that? They didn't change. Hashem says, I love it. I love it so much. You built the Beit HaMikdash and you didn't change from what I told you to build. The Kedusha will stand there forever and ever and ever. Yeah. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was trying to get in, said, what's going on? The naked one's so strong. Why over here is different? Because Bnei Yisrael got involved with their own hands. And they started building the Mishkan. That brings a lot of Kedusha. Yeah.
The Mishkan's Kedusha was taken away.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The minute the Mishkan moved, the whole Kedusha was off.
And therefore,
Beit HaMikdash was actually different. It stayed forever. So you still have to explain Mishkan Mikdash.
We'll explain. We'll still explain. Right? We'll still explain. The Yesod, the foundation is there. The foundation is that the makom of the Mishkan, it wasn't only, according to what you're saying, wasn't only the makom, it was the actual makom of the actual. Actually, this is a proof to what we're saying. When it came to the Beit HaMikdash, it was that same spot where they built it. That same spot always stands Kedusha. By the Mishkan, wherever spot that they built it, that's where it stays. The second is gone, so therefore that Kedusha went with them to the next spot. Because it was never finished. Makes sense. Yeah? Yeah. Bottom line is, the answer to this question is that when a person builds something, when Bnei Yisrael build something themselves, you have to understand and you have to know, you are creating Kedusha. And therefore, Rabotai, I must conclude with this. I must say, that's exactly what the Torah is telling you. The Torah is not adding any extra. When it says Ka'asher Tzivah Hashem et Moshe, when it says every single item that they built, it says exactly what Moshe Rabbeinu told Hashem. Hashem told Moshe, Hashem told Moshe, do it like this, do it like that, do it like this, like that. They copied it exactly. It caused such a strong impact on every item that the Kedusha lasted forever. And therefore you have to know, whatever mitzvah that you do, the Kedusha lasts forever. And I'm going to include this story. Now, Azonish one time was walking in Bnei Brak, and he was walking with somebody, and he says, you feel that? You feel that? He said, I don't know. The guy's like looking at the Azonish, like, what do you mean? What do I feel? He says, I feel many years ago, a person said a Dvar Torah at the exact same spot. The Kedusha is always there. When you speak Torah, it doesn't go away. What do you think? It goes away, evaporates? What do you think? What do you think happens? What do you think happens? You ever hear of sound waves? You ever hear those things? You ever hear of those things? What sound waves? What's happening? Whenever you talk Torah, it's there in the walls. It's there, it's penetrating in the walls. That's where it is. What do you think? It's a joke? Torah, it says you have to speak Divrei Torah al Shulchan. We do Teshuvah on it every Yom Kippur that we didn't do. We didn't speak Torah on the Shulchan. Ben Ish Chai says a person should always say, at least when he's having the bread, right? Say Mai Marim Hova. Why? Because at least over there that's a Torah that you're saying on the table. Why? Because when he's saying Divrei Torah on the table, you're making the Divrei Torah when it's coming, all the food becomes Kadosh automatically. You made Divrei Torah, all the food. What do you think? You put it in the oven, it comes hot. Very good, now you're eating hot food. But what about Kedusha? Say one Divrei Torah on the Shulchan, boom! Everything becomes Kadosh. Everything becomes Kadosh. When you say Barakah on the food, what do you think is happening? What do you think is happening when you say Barakah? What do you think is happening to the food, Yani? What do you think? Pika Bala, all what's going on over there. Pipulim, Gugulim, what do you think? Birkat Ilanot is coming up. You know, Birkat Ilanot, there's a whole question. You know, there's a whole question in Birkat Ilanot if you're allowed to say Barakah Birkat Ilanot on Shabbat. We say, we pass that you're allowed. We give psak that you're allowed. But there's a whole question. Well, what's the question? You're separating this Gilgul with that Gilgul. Who knows what? But you know what's going on when you're doing any mitzvah? Do you realize what's going on when you're doing any mitzvah? You're creating malachim. And I'm going to conclude with this last thing. And the pasuk says, El emunah ben aver sadiq ve'ashar hu. What does that mean? It means, the Gemara, Masechet Tanit says, it says that the small, just like the smallest averah, sorry, I'll take it back. It says that also, but I want to focus on the mitzvah. The smallest mitzvah that the guy did, the Rasha ben Usha, he's going to have to get rewarded for. And he will get rewarded for where? In this world. The tzaddik, the smallest mitzvah. You had emunah, just one thought. That emunah, you don't understand, you don't realize how great it is. And therefore, Rabotai, the reward will last you forever and ever. And therefore, when we read this Parashat Pekudei, we must understand, why does it say time and time again, on everything that they built? Because on every single little thing that you do in your life, that you're doing the will of God, it's being recorded, it's being documented, you're going to get full reward for it. Even the Hirhut Teshuvah, even the thinking a little bit of it, you're going to get that reward. Bezrat Hashem, we zoket to remember Kasher Tzivah Hashem et Moshe.